Yo, 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 welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. It's the show that cannot wait for Chet Hanks' White Boy Summer.
I just got this feeling, man, that this summer is, it's about to be a white boy summer. I'm talking about me, John B., Jack Harlow type white boy summer.
Yeah, when I think about White Boy Summer, this is the only thing I will ever think of.
You are freaking African Americans plus Mark. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm rocking with Mark because Mark is rocking with us.
Let's start with some, hot takes. As the rollout for the COVID-19 vaccine expands, it's important that A, you get your shot, and B, you're there for those who need help getting their shot. Take Lou Dort of the Oklahoma City Thunder, who was a star for the team during the NBA bubble. Here he is being a support system for teammate Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has an aversion to needles. Look how wholesome this picture is. It's the coolest hands-holding moment in the NBA since that time Anthony Davis threw LeBron James under the bus during a David Blaine trick.
My hands are held. If I squeeze the deck, look, first I get rid of the clubs, then I get rid of the hearts. Then I get rid of the spades. What? See, the whole deck disappears except for the diamonds, and of course the card that you signed.
Holding his damn hands, bro.
Hey, you seen the deck get smaller and smaller, man.
LeBron and AD's friendship was also on display when Bron FaceTime audio called Davis during a Call of Duty match with Dennis Schroeder, aka our headliner, against Giannis.
What's up, Walt?
What up, Walt?
Oh yeah, you in the streets, huh?
Yeah, man, DS in the streets. I'm going out.
Y'all in Grizzly World?
No, we on COD.
Oh, y'all on COD. Oh,
Yeah, hey, I'm going to play no out. Yeah, last game.
oh, all right, man.
What's the word?
Get back soon, guys. Prince William was just named sexiest bald man in the world. Ain't that some Panini's latest Prizm basketball set with LaMelo Ball rookies dropped this week with a price tag of $2,000 straight from the source. For reference, last year's Prizm box that had Zion and John Morant rookies were priced at $150 and resold initially for $400 prior to the trading card boom. Now, you'll be lucky to find one for around $3,000, and don't even ask about the year before that has Luka rookies. Yeah, it's all dumb right now. So you're probably wondering if now is the time to spend $2,000 or more on a box where you're hoping to just pull one player. Just for fun, here's a sample box break from somebody I just picked out of a list of videos on YouTube.
Rookie signatures PAH. For the Heat, I have no idea who that is. Precious Achua, okay.
Yeah, it can be that bad. You're probably better off hanging on to the box and never opening it, while hoping Ball comes back stronger and other rookies perform well to increase its value. At the same time, just buy a nicely centered Ball rookie on eBay and hope you can get it graded a PSA 10. And that's advice you have to pay for it some places. I'm just giving it away for free as a hard pass bit. Congratulations to Natalia Bryant for being accepted to USC. Vanessa Bryant showed off part of the celebration that also included a ton of Trojan gear and a newly made version of the Nike Kobe 4 USC player exclusive. I know we get on our high horse about player exclusives and how sneakers should be for everybody, but if Vanessa and Nike decides to keep these or any other pair in the family, I think we should be okay with that. Russell and Nina Westbrook got into it with Stephen A. Smith after the face of ESPN broke out with the hot take that he's not impressed with Russ's postseason success after he put up yet another impressive triple-double stat line, the first player ever to score 35 points, dish out at least 20 assists, and grab at least 10 rebounds. You know it's a slow week when this is the wildest thing Stephen A. can say or come up with, and Russell and Nina took the time to respond to it. Like, we should start a segment called Both Things Can Be True. Hi, I'm Jacques Slade, and welcome to Both Things Can Be True, the Hard Pass segment where we agree to agree. Russell Westbrook is a champion in life and on the basketball court. Even though he was the fourth pick in a loaded 2008 NBA draft that included guys like Derrick Rose and Kevin Love, nobody could have ever predicted the LA kid would make it this far. He has done sensational things in the game that no one has ever done, and quite frankly, we may never see another like him again. So in that regard, he is a champion that inspires kids around the world. At the same time, basketball culture's obsession with rings has created this standard that is both fair and unfair. As fans, while we are happy when the players on our team garner individual accolades and statistical milestones, the thing we care most about are the rings they win and the banners they hang. By the way, I know this is meant to be a positive segment, but can somebody let me know if our insecure next door neighbors at Staples still cover up our banners? The only thing I saw on a quick Google search was that they took down the Taylor Swift banner recently, and prior to that, the LA Kings had been covering it up because it was a jinx. Anyway, what Stephen A was trying to say was already something we fans have been thinking and tweeting about for a while now, and I love it when athletes and their significant others express their thoughts about these milquetoast takes. Speaking of milquetoast takes, Kevin Durant, really, co-writer? KD taking Michael Rappaport out back is milquetoast. I guess for KD, this is par for the course. Anyways, if you haven't heard, the New York actor who is known for mostly playing annoying New Yorker in television and film got into an Instagram DM spat with KD. Rappaport was calling KD out for an infamous exchange he had with Charles Barkley on TV back in December, and KD, as they like to say, resorted to violence of the social media kind. Some of it was your typical trash talk, and some of it was reprehensible, and I bet the NBA and KD are going to need to do some damage control. But imagine my surprise when I saw on the New York Post that KD and Rappaport are actually close enough friends that KD hooked him up with tickets to watch the finals during his Golden State days, and Rappaport posted a video actually complaining about the seats. New Yorkers and New York transplants are weird, man. We just ghost each other here in LA when there's beef. Anyway, happy trails to now former North Carolina coach Roy Williams. He announced his retirement this past week. Williams helped the Tar Heels win 3 national championships during his tenure and was responsible for one of the greatest college basketball memes of all time. Williams was reportedly unhappy with the direction college basketball was going, aka he's in his 70s and of course you're not going to like change. But towards the end, he also became a style icon for rocking Air Jordan player exclusives. I have no idea if Coach went to his recruiting visits rocking a pair of like Fragment 1s in Carolina colors, but if I were him, I would have done it every single time. North Carolina hasn't picked a replacement as of this recording, but I think you and I know there's only one choice. Wait. Make that 2.
Do you think it was a good game? Do you think both teams played hard?
Both teams play hard. Both teams play hard. Both teams play hard. God bless and good night.
Co-head coaches, North Carolina. Just something to think about. And now, a WrestleMania preview. Just like every year, WWE is hyping it up as the biggest mania ever, but unlike other years, it's also the blackest mania ever. WWE isn't hyping that part up for the record. So we've got a black WWE champion, a black SmackDown women's champion, a black Intercontinental champion, a black Raw tag team champion, walking into the grandest stage of them all wearing the gold against challengers who are also black and AJ Styles. Not only that, we've got a Japanese Raw women's champion, a Puerto Rican rapper who happens to be one of the biggest stars in the music world, and a guy who shockingly tweeted Black Lives Matter, Randy Orton, in featured matches. Now, why does this matter? Because it always mattered. For damn near all of its history, the WWE has not been a bastion for positive representation of people of color. In the old days, there were male and female black wrestlers, male and female Asian wrestlers, male and female Latino wrestlers, but their on-screen personas were often relegated to awful stereotype and racist tropes. And their spots on the card were typically near the bottom or in the main event as an easy win for one of the hosts of this year's WrestleMania. Anyway, when one did break through, like The Rock, who is half black and half Samoan, it's more of an anomaly and less the norm. So to get where we are now, where kids around the world will get to see Bobby Lashley, Sasha Banks, Big E, The New Day, Asuka, and Bad Bunny performing dazzling feats of athleticism in the biggest spot on the card, that's progress. We'll see how it goes in the coming weeks and months and years if more and more opportunities will come. But for right now, for this Mania, let's enjoy the moment. Okay. Let's do a quick rundown of both nights because this year's event will get the Saturday and Sunday treatment like last year due to the pandemic. We're recording this before the last episode of Raw and SmackDown air before Mania, so the card is subject to change, and I'm sure the WWE will have surprises and returns that nobody will expect. So for night 1, we have Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Cesaro wins, cementing him finally as a guy who could be a world champion at some point. Then we have Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. Shane rocks some custom Air Jordans. He's going to jump off the pirate ship in the stadium and he's going to win because he's the son of the boss, and Braun has literally zero credibility. Then we have the New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos. The 7'3" Omos is making his wrestling debut on the biggest show of the year, so that usually signals a win. AJ Styles becomes a Grand Slam champion, and Kofi Kingston debuts some new sneaker heat after rocking the black and maize dunks for the past few weeks on Raw. Bad Bunny versus The Miz. As one of the latest additions to the Adidas roster, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bad Bunny wearing one of his collabs for his match against the A-lister. Oh, and of course, Bad Bunny wins because he's a celebrity, and celebrities always go over, much to the dismay of hardcore wrestling fans. Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Drew had his moment to be celebrated by thousands of fans stolen by the pandemic last year, so I wouldn't be shocked to see him get a do-over, but Lashley has been putting in great work during the pandemic era, and it's possible this could be his last big run before retiring. In a straight-up match, I'm picking Drew, but I'm actually predicting a Brock Lesnar run-in that lets Bobby win, and we get a super fight between Brock and Bobby for SummerSlam. Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. This feels like a coronation for Belair, who won the Royal Rumble this past January and has been featured heavily on SmackDown for months now. Sasha will give Belair an amazing match that could steal the show, and when it's over, Bianca gets the big fireworks treatment as the new SmackDown Women's Champ. And then for night 2, we have Riddle versus Sheamus. It's the, we need these guys on the card match. I'm sure it'll be fine with tons of violence, but Riddle retains and makes a stoner joke on the way out. Then we have Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. The fight over BFS will be overshadowed by celebrity Logan Paul, and that's going to be a shame. My prediction? We all lose. The Fiend with Alex Bliss versus Randy Orton. The Fiend wins, and we get a mind-bending match that will be talked about for years to come. The only question is if it will be a good or bad thing we're talking about this match for years to come. Then we have Big E versus Apollo Crews. Cruz's character has undergone a massive change, and if they want to keep the momentum going, he's going to need to take the belt away from Big E, who I think is on a track to be headlining WrestleMania next year. Asuka versus Rhea Ripley, another star who needs a do-over for last year's Pandemic Mania, but for entirely different reasons. Ripley began her rise to the top of the women's division with the win over Pandemic-era MVP Asuka. Then we have Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan versus Edge. Another match where we could conceivably see a Brock Lesnar appearance. Reigns' critically acclaimed run as a super bad guy will continue with a killer match. However, because WWE is gonna WWE, there will be a questionable finish that will leave nobody satisfied, and rewinding back to the night 1 when Bianca closed out the show. Yo, it's the Heat Check, where we bring you everything that's dropping this week. First, we have the Verdi Nike SB Dunk Low Waisted Youth on the 6 for $110. The rough patchwork look on the shoe is courtesy of Japan artist Verdi. I think this will fly under the radar because of the black and white upper that seems simple at first, but shows off its depth after further inspection. Air Jordan 35 Smoke Gray. These are on April 8th for $175. It's one of the plainest pairs of the Air Jordan 35 yet. While I think these will sell out because everything sells out that's on the sneakers app, this will probably be hitting outlets sooner rather than later. Jordan Center Court, April 8th for $135. Michael Jordan's Last Dance sneaker gets a splash of red on the heel in a style that's not unlike the Air Jordan 1 High Defiant from a few years ago. Nike Crater Impact on April 8th. The evolution from the Space Hippie continues with this new silhouette that uses Nike Grind trash and scraps for the tooling, and a newly designed swoosh looks like Morse code from afar. Bonus points if you didn't have to Google Morse code. Kim Jones Converse Chuck 70, April 8th for $160. I love almost everything about this retro-inspired take on the Chucks, which are the definition of retro just to begin with. What I don't love is the $160 price tag. Nike LeBron 7 Baseball Blue on the 9th for $200. After numerous delays that date as far back as last year when the Lakers were winning their 17th World Championship, we might finally be getting this homage to the other world champs, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Overkill Adidas ZX 8500 A to ZX series on the 9th. The fusion of the ZX 8000 and 9000 is mixed with an abundance of color that takes their cues from graffiti culture. Feels like a pair someone might wear when they're about to tag some walls. I have no idea if that's the terminology that artists still use. Please don't cancel me, graffiti Twitter. Coca-Cola A6 Gel Quantum 90 on the 9th. I like Coca-Cola collabs as much as the next person, but when are the A&W root beer or Barks root beer collabs? Give us Dr. Pepper sneakers, or if you want a deep cut, Royal Orange. If you know, you know. Reebok Answer 4, April 9th for $130. Allen Iverson's kicks during his MVP season is returning once more in the OG colorway for its 20th anniversary. Damn, don't you guys feel old? Reebok Question Mid I3 Motorsports on the 9th for $140. The shiny bottom is in reference to Allen Iverson's love of jewelry, but really, is the statute of limitations up on us talking about AI's rap career and his nickname Jules? I need to know because I have some hot takes lined up, about 40 bars. And then the pick of the week is the Air Jordan 5 Toro Bravo April 10th for $190. Get ready for non-stop video comparisons between these and the 2009 pair all next week. It's well-deserved because the Toro Bravo 5s are a legendary non-OG pair of the J's, but it's going to get real annoying real quick as everybody claims they were all about this sneaker life back in the 2000s. And now for a heat check on the Nike KD 14, which was revealed for the first time this past week. Actually, before we do that, let's do a quick heat check on the recently leaked PlayStation 5 and Nike PG 5. If I can be so bold as to give Nike orders as to what to do for the sake of their brand, I don't think it's a good idea to release yet another PlayStation thing that's going to be a pain in the ass to get when it's still a pain in the ass to get the actual PlayStation 5. It's not a great idea, and I get it. No one cares about PG shoes unless it's got a Pandemic P joke or a PlayStation collab attached to it, but read the room. And especially don't include a code that people can use to unlock an exclusive PS5 digital item. Just don't, Nike. Wait until Sony can get their supply chain in order. I give the PS5, PG5 one confirmation email out of 10 canceled emails 5 minutes later saying they took too many orders. Back to KD. Ahead of a formal reveal, we are now getting a peek at official images of the Nike KD 14. Look, I understand that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are the best of friends and plotted a Brooklyn takeover and whatnot, but confusing the market in that way seems like an odd direction to go in, because I have to admit, if you took out the KD branding on the tongue and asked me to guess which signature athlete this shoe belongs to, I would 10 out of 10 times say it's a Kyrie shoe. It has a lot of the hallmarks of a Kyrie shoe that I'm starting to think it's an elaborate April Fool's joke. Really, the only thing missing from the KD 14 that would make it an official Kyrie shoe is some sort of allusion to the Illuminati and the all-seeing eye. KD's unpredictability of what he wants and needs in the signature shoe has kind of mirrored what he's done on the court and as a personality off the court. Like when you think about a LeBron shoe, it's like a suit of armor. Kyrie, art project. Kobe, low cut. PG, charity case. But KD, it's a mid, it's a low, it's got Flyknit, it's got Foamposite. He says he's not an $88 player, but when they bumped up the price, the discounts come quick, and now he's telling us he's a Kyrie fan. I don't know what to make of it other than I'm sure the performance will be phenomenal like most KDs. I give the first look at the Nike KD 14 7 tweets out of 14 DMs. It's time for this week's hard pass, or actually it's the not hard pass, where we take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go, like pulling April Fool's jokes on Mina Kimes.
Adam Schefter is texting me.
Roy
I'm
Williams.
sorry, is he leaving? What does the text
Williams.
say?
Oh
He's
boy,
leaving?
at Mina Kimes is not going to be happy today. ...
What?
I mean,
Oh wow,
also,
that's the text. Hold on, pinning down the final details. Hold on.
Adam Schefter weaponizing 8.3 million Twitter followers and the entire
I know.
attention of the NFL. The entire NFL for this specific prank. What, Adam Schefter? You are a legend.
How am I supposed to do the rest of the show?
Okay, that was good. And props to Schefter for also freaking out NFL Twitter because of that tweet. The NBA equivalent of that would be Woj tweeting me that LeBron and AD are, you know what? Let's not put that out there. Think happy thoughts. Just think happy thoughts. Anyways, this week's actual hard pass goes to performative anger. There was a lot of that going around this week, but in our case, let's talk about Lil Nas X. If you haven't been paying attention to him prior to the past few weeks, you're probably not the only one. In fact, I'm willing to bet that people haven't really been paying attention to him since Old Town Road and that remix with Billy Ray Cyrus dropped in 2019. In that same time, he came out as gay and became the first person to do so while having a #1 record. He was on top of the world in 2019. However, there was also some thought, at least on my end, that while he will continue to have fame and recognition and status to his millions of fans for the rest of his career, that was basically it in terms of all of us having to take on Lil Nas X. But as many people know, the kid was also a very well-known internet-savvy troll prior to Old Town Road, and I think he may have stumbled or intentionally hit upon his greatest troll drop yet. Late last month, Lil Nas X dropped the song Montero, which is a song about a relationship he has with the man he met in quarantine and how he no longer wants to hide or be ashamed about who he loves. According to Lil Nas X, who I will keep referring to in full because there's really only one Nas, and there's too many people who use Lil and X, and that's just messy. Anyway, he hopes that the song is a message to kids to be who they are and that it will hopefully drop the stigma that comes with being a gay man in the music world. That's all well and fine until he dropped the video for the song. That became a wild controversy that got all sorts of people mad. But while there are concerns about the imagery in the video, I don't think it's any worse than what we used to get back in the days when the parents got freaked out when their kids were playing Dungeons and Dragons or listening to NWA or watching movies by Quentin Tarantino. Which is to say, maybe parents need to be parents and teach their kids the ability to tell the difference between fiction and reality. And to give them context as to why NWA might make a song that isn't complimentary of the police, or how a game of Dungeons and Dragons is more than just dice rolls. Religion is a delicate subject, and quite frankly, it's a topic that needs a show that isn't hard pass for us to truly give it the space that it deserves. But I would love to see the Venn diagram of people who were acting like the Montero video was the worst thing in the world, but just a few weeks ago were openly hoping that Mephisto would show up in WandaVision. There were just a lot of people just being angry for the sake of being angry, and thereby giving Lil Nas X even more clicks and views and notoriety. It's no different than actors who try to garner attention by dating each other or saying stupid shit on a podcast because they have a movie to promote. Like, how many emails did you get from corporations claiming that they were getting in the Top Shot business as a gag for April Fools? But was Lil Nas X's song and music video enough to get him a spot on this week's show? No, it was Nike, who has not been having a great 2021 so far, when they pulled off the biggest freak out over something they had to know they had no control over. The swoosh filed a cease and desist against Mischief, the creative agency that Lil Nas X tapped to create the customized Nike Air Max 97s that matched the theme of the music video. Oh, and a drop of blood to maximize the troll. Like, we could all see this a mile away, and yet we all fell for it. My favorite was Nick Young, another dude who hasn't been having a great 2021, when he claimed that he was done with both Lil Nas X and Nike because he thought the shoes were an official Nike release. And when he found out it wasn't, he broke out with the excuse that he got hacked yet again. Like, come on, swag. Don't fall for the trap. Or better yet, don't get caught up in it and say your kids aren't going to listen to Old Town Road again. Like, that song was in 2019. I'm pretty sure your kids have moved on to hundreds, if not thousands, of songs since then. And what exactly did Nike achieve by filing that cease and desist? Not a whole lot, I'm guessing. People who were already mad or fake mad at them weren't all of a sudden going to come back and buy Jordan mids. They're probably the same type of people who brought and burned Nike socks and had to buy all new socks because they didn't like Colin Kaepernick. It's all a show, people. Mischief already sold the pairs and shipped them out save for one. Lil Nas X gets to be in the headlines leading up to the release of his album, and resellers get to cash in on the controversy, much like they did in 2019 when Mischief dropped a tonally opposite pair of the Air Max 97s. Like, there are so many more things in this world that we need to direct our real anger and frustration towards, like violence towards our Asian brothers and sisters, or certain states passing legislation making it harder for people who look like me to vote. Or the reemergence of mass shootings because, yay, the pandemic is supposedly over and everything is open again. Those things need no performance. Those things need real action. All right, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you for watching Hard Pass. I'm Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week, but not before I show you what an actual white boy summer looks like. That was actually really good. Well, at least he's not Chet. Anyways, don't forget to check me out on the socials at Cousteau on Twitter and everywhere else. Why? No reason. I'll see you next week. Peace.